Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn, and we are going to talk a little bit about James Gunn's big announcements coming out of, or coming leading up to the Superman movie, getting ready to come out like soon, right? Like this thing's right around the corner. This just in. Also, I guess there's going to be crypto shorts. So we're going to have a bunch of short crypto animated films, I guess, or live action films. It's a little murky here. But yeah, they're really betting that you guys are going to love crypto. And honestly, I like everything I see about him so far, so I probably will. But this is also coming out at the same time that there is news on what the plans are for Warner Brothers and what to expect per year. Now, to me, as a comic artist for 20 some years, a lot of those handling DC Comics characters, I feel like this is, putting the wagon before the horse. I've seen Superman movies come and go and not really take off, like, Superman Returns, good example. And I'd like to see this Superman movie be a success and be talked about on its own before we start talking about how many DC films I can expect a year, how many animated movies, live action series, and so on and so forth. But for some reason, they think you guys want the whole enchilada, that you guys are expecting this superhero universe. So let's get into it.
So it seems like James Gunn and Peter Safran have this release schedule for the DC universe, and that is 2 live-action films per year, 1 animated film per year, 2 live-action series per year, and 2 animated series for HBO Max per year. Now, aside from the very last thing, which is the animated series, they didn't exactly specify whether the films are going to be theatrical releases or streaming-only releases. Looking at this, though, I kind of feel that this looks almost exactly like Disney's plans when they talked about the MCU on Disney Plus and Star Wars as well. And I don't think it worked out very well for them, did it, honey? We actually have the showrunner for Andor saying streaming is dead. All right. The reason why people are saying the streaming is dead is because, well, they feel like when you release things on streaming, it reduces box office takings afterwards. Marvel Studios' Disney Plus TV shows are now seen as diluting the MCU's brand, but the studio lacked the bandwidth to properly produce the shows and movie, meaning quality has declined. Lucasfilm faced similar bandwidth problems, which helps explain why it's been 6 years since we had a Star Wars movie. So this is basically, they actually have this example from Disney Plus to look at and say, yeah, maybe people are not willing to consume this much of one universe. And I'm not sure why they still think that it's a brilliant idea to say, yeah, we're going to copy that model that didn't work out for these guys here.
A lot of this kicked off, and I hate to kind of bring up the pandemic, but it did. The guys, AT&T, and a guy named Keller at Warner Brothers basically wanted to gut the theaters and release movies straight to streaming, HBO Plus, or not HBO Plus, HBO Max, Disney Plus. All of these things were taking off. Black Widow was put up on streaming. Scarlett Johansson sued Disney. A lot of people forget all of this. Dune was put in theaters, on streaming and theaters at the same time, which ticked the director off enormously. So I think Dune 2, like this, all of this happened, right? And basically these mega corporations were ready to get rid of theaters. Why cut up the money with the theater owners? Why let them sell popcorn and stuff? The future is going to be at home watching movies. And that didn't really work out. Now, the problem that's happening here, at least with the streaming stuff, making reference to the Marvel stuff, it is diluting the brand, but you're also confusing your consumer. The entertainment is the entertainment, but if you're training your consumer to watch at home, and they're going to invest in a comfier couch, a bigger TV, a surround sound, stuff like that, then don't expect them then to go off to the theater to watch, the next chapter. They're just going to wait and download it or stream it at home or rent it at home. In a way, this is idiotic, right? When you have a consumer, you're lucky enough if you can get a fandom to consume a product one way, but 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways, and then expect them to keep changing tracks whenever you decide, well, this is a movie that you pay, $15 to see or whatever. And this is a streaming service you pay and you can watch 8 episodes of. And it's all the same continuity. It's all the same brand, even some of the same actors in some cases. It doesn't actually make sense. And sometimes I really think they're idiots when it comes to things like this. Like this problem I saw way down the road. I'm like, there's just no way this is going to work for what you want it to be. People are going to want to get out of the house and go to the theater. And then some people are just going to want to watch TV. But to have these things crossing paths, I guess, or switching tracks is a better metaphor. It just is confusing, right? Because eventually the guy's going to go, I'm not going to go to the theater. I'm just going to rent it and watch it at home because I'm used to watching WandaVision at home or Andor at home or whatever. But this plan for Warner Brothers, for whatever, better or worse, can only work out 2 ways, I feel. I don't feel like there's sort of in between. I think this can either be a success or a failure. I really feel like there's a little middle ground that this can hit that the studio is going to be okay with. I do think there's middle ground, but it has to be what they're okay with, right? And they're already doing what I think is can be a failure. I was turned off by the last Superman trailer, not by its trailer alone, but then by a Peacemaker season 2 trailer that had Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl in it. And I'm like, wow, they're in the Superman movie. I didn't even watch Peacemaker season 1. So now to watch Superman, I have to watch this other series and to enjoy and understand the continuity. And see, that's already a turnoff for me as a consumer. And there's this whole thing about this, and I really want to add, is that they're not even really just focused on a good Superman movie. Like this whole movie, the more we see up until its launch or release, is like a launch pad for everything in the DC universe that they plan to do on multiple platforms in animation. And somebody somewhere is going to say that's genius. Now, they're hedging their bets. They're saying like basically superhero fatigue is a real thing. James Gunn is on record actually saying that at one point. Guys can go look that up. That article exists. And they're betting that all the people that are tired and dropping off from the MCU Disney stuff are actually just going to jump on board with the DC stuff because it's fresh, it's new, and some of these characters are getting their first outings. That is a coin toss situation because it could be possible they're just done with superheroes in general and they're not looking for a different brand of the superhero in animation, TV show, and 2 movies a year. Because this is kind of a Marvel formula here. What do you think, Yanzi?
I think we need to go back to the very nice era of self-contained superhero movies. Kind of like the Christian Bale Batman trilogy, where it's like one single solid Batman universe. Nothing spins up into anything else. People can enjoy the 3 trilogies, and then they say, yep, all right, I got my story. Ooh, I'm interested in Batman now. Maybe I'll check out more DCU stuff. As opposed to saying, oh, by the way, I'm going to introduce Green Lantern here, Superman here. You better go and watch all those 2 to understand all these characters. It's like, no, what if I only like Batman? What if I only care about Batman?
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of Dawn of Justice a little bit in the sense that they're playing catch up too much to Marvel. Whereas Marvel had an organic, slow roll out to the Avengers, right? You had the, Iron Man, you had the Hulk movie, Thor, Captain America, First Avenger, and before you knew it, you had an Avengers movie. Now, where they're at with this is like, I feel like they're already like, well, we got to get to that Justice League film, or we got to get to this big universe thing. And it's like everything I've seen in Superman trailer, I do like seeing other superheroes around Superman, but this just doesn't even feel like a jumping on point. It feels like it's already up, going, and running. And that could be refreshing that it's not an origin story again, but it still seems like I'm already being sold on 2-3 other movies In the case right now, Peacemaker season 2, which I've never even watched season 1, and see, that's already a turnoff to me about this. And I'm actually was giving this a shot. Now,
I bet you're looking forward to the Amanda Waller TV show. Ooh, I bet it's going to tie off into everything in the DC universe. So you better not miss it.
There are some things that were on his big chalkboard in the big announcement that James Gunn had that are now no longer existing. Like there was a Sergeant Rock movie in the works or at one time, and I was actually excited for that. Like I loved those old DC Comics war comics, but see, that's the thing. They're already dialing back some of that big chalkboard he had. Now, with all this said, they're already working on the Supergirl movie. We're gonna have like Jason Momoa as like Lobo. Like shots have leaked of that, set shots. You guys can go look that up. It all exists. So they're well into way of what we see on your screen right here. It's just a matter of what they are. There's the Green Lantern TV show that we already know about. They had already done like I think like a Suicide Squad animated series or something, Monster Commandos, something. And they'll do more of these, sure. And that's great. I mean, it's cool if they're doing this. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I want to be sold on the one Superman movie first and then buy into everything else. But it feels like I'm supposed to buy everything before I even taste this movie. And that just rubs me the wrong way. And again, like the whole streaming thing, and it just boggles my mind that they have yet to wrap their head around that one will affect the other, that you can't have this stuff on streaming and convince the guy sitting at home that's paying for, like a superhero special effects, like TV show, that then he's going to go pay and watch a movie in the theater. He's just going to download it. It's like, I feel like the studios have to really come to terms. Are they okay with theaters, or they want to get rid of them altogether and make a decision and just act on it, period. And act with, I don't know, confidence. This like straddling the fence on this. It's like, I just don't think it works. I think it's too confusing for the average consumer. I really do. I mean, it's like they're totally forgetting any type of consuming habits and making any of this content, which I find mystifying to me. And maybe that's because I've worked with these characters. I've worked with them in monthly comics and original graphic novels and stuff like that. But it's like you can't get a guy that will read trade paperbacks and only trade paperbacks to go read monthly comics, and then vice versa. There are guys that will only read comics a certain format. Anyways, if you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Let us know what your thoughts and predictions are on the James Gunn DC universe. Also, sign up for Anatomic. It looks like we're launching the 15th of this month. So you guys have a little less than 2 weeks to get signed up for that. There will be an exclusive cover that only it looks like signups will be able to access, or YouTube member channels. And we'll have a lenticular card that you get with purchase of the book. If you have signed up, signups are absolutely free. You can do it. Click the link down below in the description, either on Indiegogo or 9livescomics.com. And I'll leave you guys with a trailer for the smash hit comic book, Anatomic.
If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Anatomic. And this is how my legend was made.